Welcome back to the podcast, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the last 3 episodes of the Becoming a Millionaire series with Julia Carlson. We had so much fun recording those episodes, and I just hope it inspired something within you. It showed you what is possible for you, and I hope you got some out of them. We sure loved it. So today I wanted to shift gears a little bit and do a different kind of episode, one that will help you close up your year. So if you're listening in real time, it's the holidays. It is the very end of the year. It is that last week, which is a super powerful time energetically. It is a time for closure. It is a time to close up loose ends. It is a time to reflect. It's a time to be. It's a time to be. So I know a lot of times, especially if you celebrate the holidays, first 3 weeks of the year can be action-packed. Sometimes there's a lot of travel, there's a lot going on, there's family, there's events, there's gift giving, there's, all kinds of stuff going on, and it can truly be overwhelming. But my invitation to you is to take this last week and, in whatever way you can, allow it to be a time of receiving and a time of rest and restoration and closing up your year, tying up any loose ends. And I'm going to share my favorite ritual for the end of year, which is all about writing the story of this past year with you as the hero of it. I want to talk about why that is so powerful. I've been doing this for the past probably 8 years, and there is something really powerful about going through this exercise, which I'm extending to you. I created an entire journal that goes through the entire process that I use for this, and I am linking that up in the show notes so you can grab it for free and spend some time in the next week going through that process. It's going to help you reflect. It's going to help you really think back about your year, think about who you became. And most importantly, it's to write the story of the year with you as the hero of it. Now, why that matters? Because anytime we start something new, which when we start 2026 or start a new year, start a new chapter, it can be really helpful to not bring baggage from your last chapter into your new one. And a lot of times the end of the year can bring some emotional baggage. It can bring some reflecting in the way that the brain works, right? Sometimes when we aren't practiced, we don't see all the goodness that's happened in this past year. We don't see the growth. We don't see the expansion. We don't see what we've overcome. Oftentimes, we see what there is lacking, what we didn't achieve, what we didn't reach, what didn't happen, how far we quote unquote didn't come. And that is all the brain wants to focus on. And that is not helpful, and that is not going to allow for the best start of your new year. You don't want to bring that baggage. So this is going to help you reconnect to what this year was actually about. Because sometimes we set goals at the beginning of the year and we set intentions, but our year brings us somewhere different. It's almost like there was what the brain wanted or what the ego wanted or what we thought we wanted in this moment. And then there was what the soul actually said, this is what we really want. This is where we need to expand. This is who we need to become before that happens. And so sometimes your year can look different from what you expected, or you can say, God, this was my goal and it completely shifted. It looks completely different than I thought it would look. But I've grown a lot. It's just in a different way than I expected. That happens a lot, my friends. And a lot of times just setting that big goal or deciding who you're becoming is how this unfolded, right? It's how you shifted into this new way of being. It's almost like if you didn't plant that seed of desire, you wouldn't have grown and evolved in this way, right? So it's never a bad idea to intend your year. It's never a bad idea to have a vision. It's just sometimes our soul can bring us somewhere else and say, you know what? This is actually the most important thing that we tackle first. This is the most important thing that we handle or that we grow into, or this is what we really want on the deepest level, right? And we grow into that this year or have grown into that this year. So my invitation to you is to reflect on what that was. In what ways did your soul grow? Who were you actually meant to become this year? What did you think the goal was? But where did you actually grow? What did you overcome? What new characteristics did you build within yourself? What did you learn? What did you grow into? All of these things really matter, because when we're so hyper-focused on one thing, and a lot of times it's a thing that we attach our worthiness to. For some people, it's going to be how much money they made. For other people, it's going to be how many clients they have. For other people, it's going to be what their numbers are on, social media, and, how they look or how famous they are, or whatever it is. For other people, it might be what their body looks like and what their body size is, right? Oftentimes, when we attach our worth to something outside of ourselves, unintentionally, we can hyper-focus on that thing. And we think, oh my God, if I didn't achieve that, nothing else mattered. None of the other growth, none of the other parts of life, none of the other beauty that I experienced this year mattered because I didn't achieve that one thing. So we want to untangle that. We 100% want to untangle that before we start the new year and start fresh. So that, my friends, is what we're going to do. All right. And that's why I have this ritual of journaling this out and really reflecting on and taking my brain and my subconscious there and saying, what was this year actually about? Okay, so we're going to dive into the 4 different elements of a hero story so that you can reflect on them. The first one is the call to adventure. Every hero has a call to adventure. And I know all of you have had that. And you're all on the adventure, right? Some of you are like, I'm still being called towards the adventure. And the adventure is all about what you're feeling pulled towards, what you want to create, what desire was placed in your heart this past year. What was the dream that was whispered to you? What was it that you heard that you're supposed to do? What's the journey that you started to go on, whether you fully manifested it or not? What was your call to adventure this past year? How was your soul calling you forward? The next element of every hero's journey is the challenges and the villains. So the challenges and the villains, no matter what, even if you're ending the year on the highest high of all, there's no way you didn't overcome some obstacles and some challenges and some fear and some self-doubt and questioning yourself and others questioning you, or hitting up against, just a hard thing this past year. So let's reflect on that. What were the challenges? Did you have a fear that came up strongly within you? Did you have a launch that just didn't go as planned? Did you burn out at some point? Did you have a health challenge that came up? Did you experience a loss that was unexpected? Did you have a difficult client that you had to work through? Did you have a shift within the team that was really challenging? Did you have something family-wise that you went through that you really had to work through? And once you identify what your challenges were, it can be really helpful to say, how did that end actually strengthen me, right? In the end, how did that strengthen me? And what tried to take me off the path but didn't? What did I not let take me off my path? In what ways did I keep going? And where did you show courage? Where did you build up your courage muscle when you didn't feel like it? When you felt like running or hiding or not doing the hard thing? I want you to write this down, reflect on it. And here's the truth. The villain does not win. In your story, it never did. This is why you are the hero. Now, the third element of a hero story are the turning points, right? It's those subtle but powerful moments where everything shifted, or where you had micro shifts that kept you on the path, or that opened you up to a new perspective, right? So when did you make a brave decision this past year? And when did you advocate for yourself? When did you choose alignment over pressure? When did you set a boundary that might have been challenging, but you did it? When did you rise instead of collapse? Right? These are the moments that define you. They define your identity. This is where you are becoming. So I want you to focus back and look back at what were some of the turning points. Maybe you went to a meditation retreat and it expanded something within you. Maybe you got some help. Maybe you decided to go to therapy and that really started to shift things for you. Maybe you decided that you were going to start coaching and getting some help around your relationship with money. Maybe you joined the movement. Maybe you joined the mastermind and you just saw such a huge difference as an effect of that. So let's write down, what were your turning points? And then element 4 is the becoming, right? And this is the identity piece. This is your signature. So here's how you can identify the becoming and who you became. Think back to the beginning of 2025. Who were you at the beginning? What was different about you? What was different about you? What has shifted? What have you opened up to? In what ways have you changed? Like, who are you now versus who you were then? What are the qualities that grew within you? What became unshakable within you? What do you trust more deeply in now than ever before? Now, some examples of this might be you're more resilient. Your self-belief has strengthened. Maybe you feel more calm. Maybe you feel more calm around money or the things that you used to worry about. Maybe you feel more creative. Maybe you're more confident in your work and you're putting it out there and shining your light in a bigger way than you ever have. Maybe you realize your capacity is so much bigger than you thought. Maybe you've stepped into leadership in a whole new way. Maybe you've trusted your intuition in a way that you didn't even have access to. You had access to it, but you didn't know how to access it, right? Maybe you've stepped into greater intuitive guidance. Maybe you feel more connected than ever before. Let's define these things, right? Because this is what this real success of your year is. It's all about what you've built up within you, who you have become. It's not about the goals. It's about this. It's about what you have stepped into as an effect of your life this past year. And then the 5th element of any hero story, which is beautiful for this time of year because it truly is what this time of year represents, which is a returning to the light. And that is for most religious holidays that are celebrated at the end of the year. It's about winter solstice. It's about returning to the light. Literally, after winter solstice, what happens? We start getting light, or the sun stays brighter later and later. It's the turning point. So this time of the year is the turning point, right? So we are returning from the dark. So let's talk about this. Let's let this season be about closing and completing this chapter. Not in a way of like closing everything down that was good, not about like energetically shutting it off or resisting it, but truly like coming to peace with where you are, being proud of the wins, being proud of who you've become, writing the story as if you are the hero, and then let the rest of the year be a rest. Let it be a reset. Let yourself slow down. This is part of the manifestation process, is just slowing down. Getting into deeper truths of abundance, right? It's restoring enough to where you can really reflect on what is your purpose? Who are you becoming in the next year? What's next for you? What does it feel like this next chapter is about? It's also about receiving. The return to the light is about receiving. Letting this last month of the year being about when you rest, you receive. When you slow down, you receive messages, you receive truth, you receive intuitive guidance, you receive gifts, you receive love. Let that be what this return to the light is about. And I will tell you what, when you do this, it is going to shift the way you wake up on January 1st. Not that's going to change everything, right? And not that one date you wake up as a new person, but it allows for a completely different energy when you start the new year than if you just ran on a hamster wheel for the rest of the year, if you shamed yourself for where you are, if you stay in overwhelm around the holidays, if you don't close energetically what you want to complete for 2020, right? You're going to approach the new year in a completely different way. So this ritual is super, super powerful. And I'm so excited for you to try it out. And again, I created a workbook. This is the same workbook, journaling prompts, that I go through at the very last week of the year to close out the year. So I invite you to download that. It's totally free. Just go to the show notes, download it, and then spend maybe a half an hour in sacred time at some point over this next week and fill that out. I recommend lighting some candles. If you are celebrating Christmas, light your Christmas tree. Get that light going. Remember, it's a return to light. And create a sacred space for you to do this ritual. And I can't wait to hear how this lands for you, how it shifts things energetically. And remember, like, our goals and our manifestations and what we're doing in this lifetime isn't about what we achieve. It's not about the physical goals. Those can be the cherry on top. They're a lot of fun. We create them because why not? But really, the real reason that God plants desires in our heart to go for those things is because our soul is wanting to expand. So you want to look at how your soul has expanded, who you have become. That is the true success. And you should be so proud of yourself. So proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you. And I just want to give you a big energetic hug to close out the year and send you lots of love.